So, on the very first day of 2026, a major new direction for China's real estate market was revealed. And this signals a fundamental reset for the entire industry, one that could define its path for years to come. Now, this isn't just a minor course correction. We're talking about a whole new logic for the entire sector. So, what does it all mean for the future?
Well, this all kicked off with a landmark article in Qushi, which is the official theoretical journal of the Chinese Communist Party. And you got to understand, when an article like this drops in this particular magazine, it's not just an opinion piece. It's a powerful, authoritative signal that's setting the tone for a whole new era. So let's dive into what it actually says.
All right, so the first crucial shift is all about how the problem is being diagnosed. For the very first time in a major central publication, the official language is getting incredibly direct about a core economic issue.
And this is absolutely huge. The conversation is no longer just about sales figures or how many new buildings are going up. The government is now explicitly acknowledging that falling property values are directly shrinking the wealth of everyday people and the assets of companies. It's a direct admission of a much, much deeper economic problem. By specifically naming the asset liability sheet problem, the whole starting point for policy has fundamentally changed. We're moving away from just trying to manage a market slowdown to actually addressing the risk of a systemic balance sheet recession. This official recognition is really the foundation for everything that's about to follow.
So now that the problem has been defined so clearly, what's the official verdict on the old way of doing things? Well, let's just say the article leaves zero room for doubt.
The message is unequivocal. That whole phase of simply building more and more, the era of massive, speculative, debt-fueled expansion, it's a thing of the past. The logic of the market has permanently shifted.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this frames the entire pivot. The market is shifting from a simple question of have versus have not, just providing enough housing for everyone, to a question of good versus not good, providing high-quality housing. That old method of high debt and high turnover, which basically treated housing like a manufacturing industry, is being replaced by a new model that's all about integrating the product, the service, and the operations.
And the conclusion from that is pretty stark. For developers who relied on that old model and just can't make the transition from being a builder to a service provider, the only outcome is heading for the exit. The system is basically preparing for an orderly clearing of all the players who just can't adapt.
So you might be thinking, if the old model is finished, is the entire industry finished? Well, the article argues not even close. In fact, it's pivoting to a new, sustainable, and frankly, massive market track.
Let's just look at the numbers for a second. Even if not a single new house were built, the existing housing stock still needs maintenance. Based on a pretty conservative 2% annual depreciation rate, the demand for renovations and replacements alone creates a market worth somewhere between 7 to 14 trillion RMB every single year.
And that right there brilliantly illustrates the industry's continued importance. That new market represents about 10% of China's total GDP. So this is not a shrinking sector, it's a sector whose entire value proposition is changing, bringing it more in line with the role real estate plays in other major developed economies.
And the potential isn't just in fixing old buildings. It's also being driven by some powerful demographic and social trends, right? You've got housing for new people moving to cities, and for young people, you've got needs from smaller family structures, and, most importantly, you have this rising demand from everyone for a higher quality of life in a good house.
Okay, let's move on and see how the government plans to support this massive transition. The article signals a completely new mindset when it comes to how policy gets done.
So, what's the crucial point here? The article explicitly rejects adding oil tactics, which is a phrase that describes these slow, incremental efforts. It's what a lot of us might call the squeezing toothpaste style of policymaking. This signals a clear end to the hesitant measures of the past that just left the market guessing all the time.
The new goal is to be so clear, so forceful, and so comprehensive that the policy is delivered in one single decisive dose. The whole point is to fully and finally reverse negative market expectations, shorten the painful adjustment period, and get confidence back as quickly as possible.
And the toolbox for this is pretty powerful. The article suggests a whole range of decisive actions, from totally canceling purchase and loan limits to support demand, to the government actively buying up unsold inventory to use for social housing, and even supporting orderly bankruptcies to speed up the market's healing process.
So what does this all add up to? What's the ultimate vision for the future of living in China? Well, it's really all about a return to the fundamental purpose of housing in the first place.
This analogy, I think, captures the shift perfectly. The first half of China's real estate story was like a wild rush on a construction site, all about building as much and as fast as you possibly could. The second half, though, is about becoming a meticulously managed community, where the focus is on quality of life, on service, and on long-term value. This new era is not about flipping apartments for quick profits. It's about the deep, patient cultivation of quality, creating long-term value through better services, smarter management, and just fundamentally better built, better designed homes that actually serve the people living inside them.
Ultimately, this official reset marks a really profound change. It's a deliberate shift away from property as a volatile financial asset and a return to its most essential function, fulfilling the fundamental human need for a good, safe, and comfortable home. The era of speculation is over. The real question now is, how will the market and the people adapt to the era of the good house?